Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Wanted to do a video today that I actually feel like is very current and necessary to think about, and something that I think will also come into play in the future, and that is virtual doctor's appointments, virtual care in general. So I personally have not had to have any doctor's appointments during any of the quarantine time. And while that's good, I have heard stories from others trying to navigate it that it's a weird thing. It can be interesting. It can be especially tricky when you've never done it before in any form and you're kind of just getting into it. So I have 5 tips that I want to share for how to navigate virtual care and what to expect, how to prepare for if you have to do a virtual doctor's appointment, things like that. Specifically talking Turner syndrome, the doctor's appointments we might need. You may need to consult your endocrinologist about something. You may need to figure out timing for screenings if the timing you would normally have blood work done or an EKG or an ultrasound or anything like that falls during this time. You will want to communicate to figure out if it's something you can wait on or if it's something that you really want to make sure fits now. And it is important to go into this with giving yourself grace, giving your doctors grace for trying to figure it out. Because not every doctor is going to be used to doing things this way. There are going to be some that were implementing it to some extent before, and now it's just their norm. But you're going to have doctors that are still learning as well. And it's tricky. So I wanted to preface with that as well. Give all the grace for learning. So my first tip for virtual care is communicate. Be super intentional about how you are communicating with your doctors. If there is a concern, if there is something you're worrying about, be sure to explain it really well. And that also goes into how you're communicating with them. What way is actually best to have that conversation and for you to communicate what you are trying to communicate. Are you good over text or email? Are you good on the phone? Is a video chat easier? Because those are happening and they're wonderful tools. So figuring out what medium of whatever level of communication you need to have is best is kind of the first starting point you want to get to. What one works best for you? And that can be heavily impacted on your internet connection and the devices you have as well. So taking all of that in consideration, be super communicative and open and honest about what you're experiencing, what your concerns are, and what your goals really are, what you're trying to achieve, and be intentional while you're communicating about how you're communicating. Not just what you're verbally saying, but how you're communicating, through which medium you're communicating. Now, that very much leads into my next point, and that is be adaptable. Be super adaptable, as with everything else during this time, for what your doctor thinks is best for providing care in whatever you're needing. So be in communication with them and really be adaptable to what ways they prefer to communicate, what ways they think is best to move forward with certain things that are in your care that you have to pay attention to, and have it be a very open conversation and come into all of that with an open mind. These changes we're making are not going to be gone overnight. We are not going to flip a switch and all of a sudden go back to the way things were. We may never get back to the way things were. In fact, we probably won't. And this change, things happening more virtually, is something that not only am I excited about it, but I am just such an embracer of because I love technology and I'm so thankful for the gift of technology. And I feel like right now, everybody is understanding what a true gift it really is and what an incredible tool it is. Yes, technology is finicky. Yes, it's a learning curve. Yes, it's constantly changing and updating, and it has its frustrating moments. You guys have seen me deal with that with different things, but it's a tool. And just like any tool, it takes being open-minded, being adaptable, and being willing to take the time to learn it. So investing in that now and getting used to that now, getting comfortable with that idea of a virtual doctor's appointment for something that can be done virtually is not a bad use of your time. Even if it doesn't have to end up being something you use regularly anymore, it's there in case you need it. I am an hour away from things. I have definitely had my times of asking for a phone call with a doctor or a video call with a doctor to figure out whether it's something I need to drive an hour and 15 minutes in to get somewhere, to take care of it. So I personally have seen that value before this, and now I'm just seeing it even more. So be adaptable as you're adjusting to that, and be willing to take that time to adapt and adjust and learn. Okay, my third point, preparing ahead of time. So when you schedule a virtual doctor's appointment, whether it's a video call or a phone call, you want to take the heads up that they give you, which is be ready to take the call between these times and be willing to wait a few minutes extra. You want to be prepared by then and use that time to your advantage to make sure you have your laptop or phone that you're video chatting on charged, connected well, and in a good spot to be on the camera. So is there good lighting for them to see you? Does your microphone on your phone or laptop work well enough for them to hear you? Things like that are going to be what you want to pay attention to. I have experienced moments of not realizing until after how bad the lighting was, or until I'm on the call how bad the audio is and they can't hear me. And when you're trying to communicate with a doctor and accomplish something, that is just so frustrating in the moment, and it can be awkward to try to overcome that while you're on the call. Okay, my fourth tip isn't about a virtual doctor's appointment, but it's more about distance care or virtual care, however you want to look at it. And it's more ordering things online, ordering your prescriptions online, ordering equipment online. It is something that you have to know your schedule really, really well, of how often you need to reorder something, how often you need to refill your prescriptions, how long equipment that you may not necessarily order regularly, but you might come into needing to order it, may take you, and really be aware of how that adjusts your schedule and timeline and all of that. It's an awesome resource to be able to order those things online, and having them shipped to you is like brilliant. I love that. But it really takes knowing ahead of time your schedule for it really well. So how often do you need to order it, and how far ahead of when you will need to switch to that new pack of prescriptions do you need to order it for it to be here in time for you to start it on time, so that you don't have awkward time frames happening and you miss your prescription because of it. Those are things that you don't think about when typically you can run out and get something. Now, these are things where if you're really trying to do everything virtual, or like me, you are farther away, So while those things may be open, avoiding going out is number one if you can, right? So if there's a way of doing that from home, it's a great option to consider. 2, saving time, gas money, like there's real benefits here. And if you have it on a scheduled mailing for you, you don't even have to think about it. I'm telling you guys, it's a gift. Okay, so take notes. Watch your pattern and make sure that you are really, really aware of your schedule for things. Or if there is equipment that you use at the hospital for something, but in this circumstance, it would be good to have it on hand at home, look into ordering it. Can you get it for yourself to have at home? Those are things you want to think about, especially when you're talking things like virtual doctor's appointments for physical therapy or things like that. You no longer have access to the physical therapist's equipment in the appointment anymore. You would want to have your own to still keep up with those exercises, even though you can still video call with them and have them walk you through it, which is amazing and awesome. But having the best equipment is going to be nice. So those are my tips for virtual care in that way. And then my 5th and final tip is don't be scared. Don't let this deter you from trying just because it's new, it's weird, you don't know how to trust it, you don't know what it's going to look like. And I know for me, especially the first virtual doctor's appointment I ever had, I was very iffy on if I felt like it was going to accomplish what I needed it to. They're not there in person, right? It's just weird. It's hard to determine before you get used to it how best to use it and how best it can work for you and what is actually possible over a video call and what's not. So don't be scared. Don't be nervous because of it. Give it a shot and keep an open mind. And I really encourage you to try different things with it. Whether it's getting your prescriptions from different places to get good prices or shipping rates or shipping time. Whether it's trying different doctors throughout that, or trying a video call versus just a regular phone call. And I think that also can come down to really communicating well with the doctor what they feel would work best, what medium they feel will give them the best ability to help you and provide the care you're needing. So those are my ideas. Now, I do want to add for things like screenings, tests, so much of that schedule is very individual. And that's where you really want to make sure you are talking with your doctor who knows your case. And that'll be where you can start looking at what do I actually need to worry about right now and what can we put on pause for now. Because everybody's going to have a different circumstance with that. For me, mine is going to be much different than yours. And I think that's important to remember too. We're all going to be needing to try to work with different doctors. We're all going to be trying to get different care, worried about different things, and that's important to remember too. So, I hope this was helpful. I hope that you were able to pull something from this, and hopefully this gives you a little bit of a starting guide to navigating the virtual care world. I only have a slight bit experience with it, but I really found it is a hugely beneficial tool, even when we're not in a time period like this, but just in general, just because I'm an hour away from everything. It's really nice. So, if you have any tips that you have found, please leave it in the comments below. If you have any questions, leave those in the comments below too. If I missed anything, please let me know and share it. And I hope this helped you. and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed. We are almost at 800 subscribers, which is insane. I'm so excited. So if you are not already subscribed, hit subscribe and hang out with us. And make sure you have notifications on, so you know when I put the next video out. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!